Hello friends, my name is Ankuta. So today I am going to continue Indian Constitution unit number 6, session number 4. So let me go to the contents. So the contents that we are going to discuss here is structure of state executive, local self-government and importance of constitutional bodies. Now let us discuss the structure of state executives. So the structure of state executive consists of three members, governor, chief minister, council of ministers. Now governor is the Indian Constitution provides the governor for each state. So each state has a governor. So it is one of the highest honorable dignity and position in each of the states. So how the appointment is made? So the governor of the state has been appointed by the President of India. So governor will be appointed by the President. Now, to be a governor, a person should have the following qualifications. A citizen of India should have completed the age of 35 years and should not hold any office of profit. So the term that the governor will be person will be a governor will be for a period of 5 years, and but he can be removed at any time. So the person who can remove the governor is the president. The governor may be transferred by the president from one state to another state. That is, governor is a state of governor. If he is in one state, he can be transferred as a governor for another state by the president. Now we go for the powers and functions of the governor. So the governor appoints the leader of the majority party as CM in the legislative assembly. So governor is responsible for appointing the CM in the legislative assembly. He also appoints other ministers in the council on the advice of CM. He gives the oath of office to the chief minister. So in the oath taking ceremony, the oath is given by the governor to the chief minister. Governor also appoints the Advocate General of the state, the chairman and members of the Public Service Commission. He also looks for after the smooth running of the government. Now we go to the chief minister. Now CM is nothing but the head of Council of Ministers in the state as well as the legislative assembly. So chief minister of state is appointed by the governor only after he has been elected as the majority leader party of the legislative assembly. So if this party wins as in the majority, so the chief minister will be appointed by the governor of that state. Now we see the powers and functions of the chief minister. So he appoints the other council ministers of the states. Also, he allows the portfolio to all ministers. That is, he can appoint them as a cabinet ministers or deputy chief ministers among them. Third one, he can also recommend the removal of ministers. That is, on any advice, he can remove all the ministers. Now we'll go to the Council of Ministers in the states. So, in addition to governor and chief minister, so there should be a council of ministers led by a chief minister to advise the governor. So how the appointment made here is, so council of ministers are appointed by the governor as per the recommendation of chief minister. So on the recommendation of the chief minister, the council of ministers will be appointed by the governor. So it consists of cabinet ministers, ministers of state and deputy ministers. So we'll see the functions and councils of ministers. So they perform individual work which has been assigned by the CM. Those chief minister will assign the individual works to the ministers. So cabinet minister also responsible for making decisions on behalf of the council of ministers. So next topic will go for local self-government. So as you know, local self-government is used to provide at the gross level, means management of local affairs by the representative of locality itself. So in the village area, there will be a local self-government. So this government was done to manage the locality itself. So it deals with the problems concerned to local area, like problems like water supply, sanitation, education, road development, construction, etc. So there are three types of local self-government. First one is village panchayat, which are the village level, taluk panchayat at the taluk level, and zilla panchayat at the district, land conservation and soil conservation. watershed development and irrigation development. If you go for Taluk Panchayat. So according to the Constitution of India, the Taluk Panchayat has been established at the Taluk level. So the composition when you see for every town population, one member is elected at the election. So the members of the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies, MPs and MLAs fall in a particular taluk are also nominated as the members of Taluk Panchayat. That is, whoever the members of Lok Sabha as well as Legislative Assembly, those members can also be a part of Taluk Panchayat. Members of the Rajya Sabha and Legislative Council who have enrolled in them as voters in Taluk are also nominated as member of Taluk Panchayat. So whoever are also members of Rajya Sabha as well as who have enrolled them in the Taluk are also can be a members of Taluk. And go for what are the functions of municipal corporation. That is Taluk Panchayat. So to plan the activities of the district as well as building and repairing of roads and bridges, regulation of land use and construction of buildings, as well as economic and social development planning and implementing. So the next topic will go here is importance of constitutional bodies. So there are three constitutional bodies as per the Constitution of India. Those are, first one is Election Commission of India, second one is Public Service Commission, third one is State Public Service Commission. First one we go for that is Election Commission of India. So in the Article 324 of our Constitution has provided a single permanent election, that is conducting free and fair regulation. So there is a single center called as Election Commission which is responsible for conducting regular elections for the center. Now let us see the components of or composition of Election Commission of India. So it consists of a chief commissioner, that is chief election commissioner, which is the head, as well as the number of election commissioner. The chief election commissioner shall be the chairman of the election commissioner. So these election commissioners are appointed by the president and may fix from time to time. So in today, election commission of India consists of three members, including its chief commissioner. So the term for the election commissioner is 6 years. That is, after 6 years they have to retire if they attain an age of 60 years, 65, as well as if they attain an age of 65, they also have to retire. Let's see the functions of Election Commission of India. The functions of Election Commission of India are this preparation of electoral rolls, as well as determination of boundaries of each constituency for parliament and state elections. Allotment of seats, that is the number of seats that will be allowed for each of the state or country. Conduction of election, that is fixing the date for different activities, that is for different elections, fixing the different date and completing the elections. Granting or recognition to political parties for election purpose, that is granting the status, that is winning or losing to the political parties. Second one is we have is Public Service Commission. So under the Article 315, there should be a Public Service Commission for the Union and for each state. So it is an independent body, that is it is not influenced by any political party. So it executes with the responsibility of recruitment and management of public services. So the objectives here are of the Public Service Commission are to appoint civil servants on the basis of merit and efficiency. Also to maintain efficiency in administration. Third one, to preserve the democracy by the servants. Now the term according to the Article 316, the members can be hold is 6 years. So if you want to become a UPSC or IAS officer, the term will be of 6 years or until they attain an age of 65 years. The functions of Public Service Commission. So to conduct the examinations of appointment to services to union and to the state. So it conducts UPSC exams for people who want to join at the civil services. Also they make recommendation to the union government by the UPSC and to the state by SPSC for appointment of person to its services. UPSC can advise to Union and SPSC to the state on all matters relating to the method. So UPSC stands for Union Public Service Commission. It is related to the center, whereas SPSC stands for State Public Service. It is related to the states. It also responsible following the principle during promotion and transfer from one service to another. Last one is to assist two or more states regarding to schemes of joint recruitment. Last one will go in with State Public Service Commission. So, State Public Service Commission comes under the recruitment of candidates for services at the state level. So, it conducts the examination for recruitment candidates at service state level. So, the selection of candidates to the various categories is made based on the either they may take a both competitive exam as well as personality test or only by interview. So either may take both the exams. On the composition, it consists of a single chairman as well as 9 members. Also as a secretary is called as an IS officer and controller of the exam. Now we go to the functions of SPC. So it is responsible for it recruits the candidates to the various civil services. So where candidates are going to recruit for the various civil services. Second, it conducts the selection procedure for the state. Also, it conducts the personality test and written competitive exams. It conducts the interview for the candidates for final selection. Thank you.